This video update brought to you by RaceDayScore.com, daily fantasy NHRA drag racing.
We're joined by our current #1 qualifier in pro stock motorcycle, Eddie Krawiec, 6.818 seconds at 192.85 miles per hour during that first and only qualifying session today. Eddie, kind of like Greg said, you know, it's unfortunate you only get one session, but everybody only got one session. But talk about what you guys got accomplished out there this afternoon.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate, but it's fortunate enough that we're the guys that get to come up here and talk about it. So that's the awesome part of it. You know, it's a level playing field. We talked about this earlier. You know, everybody gets one hit. It's same conditions, same everything. And that's the way it goes. I guess so much for being conservative with my motorcycle and going out there and just getting down the track. But it made an awesome run. You know, we had a good baseline going into Gainesville, and leaving Gainesville, had an excellent motorcycle, and figured, well, if everything is right, these are changes that need to be made for Charlotte. And our crew chief, Matt, I think made all the right decisions. Thing went killer to 60 foot for us, 105.1, and you know, the track was really good. And we were all the way over in lane 4 there. So, you know, when you looked at our quad, it was really cool because we had 4 guys all go 80s. Mine was an 81 all the way to, I think, an 87 or an 88 in our quad. So it's really neat when you have that, and it worked out pretty neat with all the reaction times being close. So it was probably some neat finish line stuff in a picture. But the end result was, you know, my Harley went 681. It's an awesome lap. I'm excited. Looking forward to tomorrow, and should be some nice, good weather.
Okay.
Yeah, time means everything, but the announcer talked about the fact that you only ran 192. What was the deal there?
To be honest, we were probably off a little bit on the tune-up for the last 200-300 feet of the track. I had really good numbers early, 60 foot, 330 to 8th mile. 8th mile I had really good speed, 161.5. It ran all the way to the 1,000 foot mark and then starts slowing down. For our motorcycles, it's tune-up wise, it starts getting very picky for the last few hundred feet of the track. So we were able to, you know, learn a little bit that run. We felt we made the proper changes to come back out, and Jerry Savoy was, I think, top speed there with 197 that round, and I believe that's about what it should have gone, is around 197 range. So we'll see. Maybe tomorrow we'll be able to get up there and make that killer lap. If I could string everything together, maybe it'll go 79. Although the speed falls off, you don't really lose that much ET. It's kind of weird because you're carrying that momentum and you're slowing down. You know, a lot of people look at that, oh, well, you're off 5 miles an hour, you're going to go this much faster. That's not really the case. It's only those last 200-300 feet, and you're losing thousandths of a second instead of hundredths of a second. My back half was probably about 200ths off, so that tells me take 200ths off that 81, you're going to go 79. So that's what we're shooting for. Although tomorrow, like I said, looks like killer weather. Somewhere in the high 70s, low 80s, sunny. I think it's everything that we want.
Brandon?
Where do you think you could have gone had you made a full pass at power?
I think a 79 was about the realistic run. Maybe a 78, but you know, it's not very often for our team to have those 104, 105, 60 foots. I was 105.1. Sometimes the 60 foot doesn't really tell you the whole story, because it's really that 330 clock is what you're racing to. You can have a great 60 foot, but if you shake, rattle, or do anything weird up into that point, for our motorcycles, our transition point is on that 1-2 shift, which happens at about 80 feet, 75, 80 feet. You got to get through that clean, because if it spins the tire on the 1-2 shift, you lose all that driving momentum running forward. So as long as you have that good 60 foot, you can carry over and keep it planted, which mine did, because it went it was like 282. As you carry into that 330 mark, and if you can carry that momentum, that's where your ET really starts to show up. So
over the last decade, the V-twins have just dominated this class, but speed-wise, it seems like it's little Hector who's gotten closest to the 200-mile-an-hour mark. Is that something that you guys are even concerned with, or would that be kind of a nice little notch in the bedpost for you guys?
Well, I mean, I have unofficially went 200. I've gone 200.08 testing back in 2012. It was sort of, as I said, the shot heard around the world. My phone went off. I wasn't even back at the trailer yet, and I probably had 30 text messages, and it happened at a test session. It was at Valdosta when we were testing there, and we had phenomenal weather conditions. It was like 200 feet corrected. Correction factor was crazy, but for it to happen out here, we still need that Mother Nature assistance. I don't think we can do it under total atmospheric conditions. You need a little bit of wind, or you need some great air. Of course, I want to be the guy to do it. Anybody out here in the class, it's the last milestone. For pro stock motorcycle, that's the next barrier and only barrier that's going to be broken. I don't see us going 5s anytime soon, and I don't see us going over 300. So definitely 200 is the first milestone we got to get over. And I'd love to be the guy to do it. If it's not me, hopefully it's one of our customers. So the Suzukis have plenty of horsepower. It's an interesting last 2 years if you look. We really did a lot of hardcore development work on the Suzuki program for the Suzuki customers over at Vance and Hines. And when you look at the way that Jerry and Jimmy Underdahl and some of these other guys, they have all the technology and everything there to adapt to it. And they've been running fast, have good speed, and you look at right now, 1, 2, and 3. It's us, Jerry Savoie, Andrew Hines, and then there's a mix of everybody else. There's a whole slew of 85s and 86s. That shows you how close the class is and where it is right now. I think parity-wise, but it's about making really good runs now. Beforehand, I would say a couple of years ago, we can get away with making not a really nice run or a perfect run. Now you need to make that perfect run if you want to have that green hat on Saturday afternoon.
Next up, Bobby Bennett.
Eddie, did you say you lifted shy of the finish line? If so, how close were you to the finish line?
No, I didn't lift shy of it. Basically ran it all the way through. It's just the bike's sort of, petering out, as I'd like to say. It's for your setup or tune-up wise, it's just not 100% happy. And our stuff being naturally aspirated, we touched on it earlier with the humidity out there. Sometimes you don't have your right fuel and engine timing combinations. Unlike a blower car where you can throw a little more pulley into it, make a little more boost. For us, we have to have our fuel and our timing right. And if that is not right, it's going to slow down. And, our bikes generate a lot of heat. The best way to explain it is a pro stock car and everybody's car out there. You have antifreeze, water running through the engine. We don't. Our stuff is actually dry. So as it gets towards that finish line from half track on, it's building a lot of heat and generating a lot of heat. We don't have any type of cooling systems on our motorcycles. So that makes our tuning even that much more critical to get it. So as you go down the track and it builds more heat and gets hotter, your tune-up becomes way more critical. And that's where you see the big speeds. That's guys that are hitting their tune-ups right on. And they're doing a good job with it. For us, we battle the aerodynamic side of it with our Harley because we don't have a fairing, but yet you also battle the tune-up. So although we were fast, there is room to improve.
Thank you.
No problem.
Great, perfect. Thank you very much, Eddie.
Thanks, guys.
For the latest in drag racing news, always visit CompetitionPlus.com and make sure to like us on Facebook.